So let's get into it, people. Let's get into Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire. This one, Adam Wingard has returned to direct this movie. He also directed Godzilla versus Kong as well. So he's back again. So as we've seen in this monster verse of movies, these collection of
Mhm.
movies, which started with Godzilla 2014. We've seen Godzilla, we've seen Kong, we've seen them fight against each other. Now we're seeing them team up. They got to team up to fight a common enemy here, an enemy that threatens to destroy the world. If even though they basically doing that themselves. I mean,
Oh,
Godzilla.
yeah.
I mean, it's like the thing is they say like, well, Godzilla he protects humanity, and it's like, really, is he? Is that what he's doing? I mean, I get that. I guess Godzilla's the only one who can fight these other titans that come upon Earth, but damn, at what cost? I mean, he's just fucking up like these whole cities, and it's not like in Dragon Ball Z where at least they go to the middle of the desert
Yeah,
and
no.
fight. He's fighting right downtown, in front of everything. So you
Yeah,
know that,
they don't care.
yeah, I mean, you just know that tens of thousands of people are dying if you're not crushed by the monsters. If you don't get killed by the buildings falling on top of you, you're gonna die of cancer in like 2 years from all the radiation, probably. So it's like, I mean, damn, at what cost is he really protecting humanity? But okay, sure, but yeah, they have to team up to fight this common enemy, and the common enemy here is the Scar King, somebody who is in deep inside Hollow Earth, where Hollow Earth is basically Kong's territory. He protects kind of the Hollow Earth. That's where he remains, and then Godzilla's up top protecting mostly humanity. They're mostly Earth and everything like that. So that's kind of the main enemy they have to face. And then also, of course, with these movies, you have to have the human characters to kind of follow around that kind of connects this, plot and moves things along. And then here
I
you
mean,
have,
do you?
I mean, I think so, just because you can't have all the monsters there. I mean, even though
You
Kong,
can't?
I mean, Kong, you get hit because like most of the movie is with Kong,
Yeah,
and even though Kong can't talk, it's like you can still get his emotion and his feelings, and
yeah,
because it's like we already have a basis for that with Planet of the Apes, so you
right.
can get the feelings and emotions there. But still, you probably need the human characters because, like, well, you gotta have somebody in here who can just say out loud what's actually going on and what's actually kind of happening. And those characters are, you have Rebecca Hall here, who was in the last movie as well,
Mhm.
who was in Godzilla versus Kong, and then you also have the little girl from the last one is Jaya, who is there, who it's her adoptive mother there, to Rebecca Hall. You also have Brian Tyree Henry, who's also in the last movie, and then the new person here is Dan Stevens, who plays Trapper in this. He goes by a gamer tag.
Yeah.
He goes by Trapper there.
I
Um,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, I conveniently, who doesn't return is Alexander Skarsgård, who played Dr. Nathan Lind in the previous movie, who
Yeah,
you would think because his brother was so invested in the Hollow Earth, he would still have something to do, and he proved his brother's theory was correct after all the crackpot, and you would think he would still be heavily involved in this, but, yeah, he's a no-show. I guess this movie, didn't wanna pay Alexander Skarsgård any money.
yeah. Well, usually that kinda happens. I mean, yeah, they'll bring on, like, a action guy in these movies, like,
Mhm.
they'll have, like, okay, the main lead who's the scientist, and then, like, a conspiracy theory person, or, more the person who's along for the ride, and then the action guy, and, like, that was Alexander Skarsgård in the last one. That was also the role that Tom Hiddleston played in, like, Kong Skull Island there. But it makes sense he didn't come back because that character was set in the '60s. So it made sense for
Right.
his character didn't come back. But who, I don't know who that character was in. Do you remember Godzilla King of the Monsters? Do you know who was that kind of character there?
Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I don't.
That was the one with Millie Bobby Brown in it.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Uh,
he showed up again. She and him showed up again in, Godzilla vs. Kong.
oh, okay. So Alexander Skarsgård was in that one too.
He was the scientist dude. He conveniently felt like what the character Trapper replaced him as.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, you kind of have that kind of character here. So a lot of really what these human characters have
Mhm.
to do, they have to string it along to move things in place so the monsters can kind of guide them to where they're supposed to be. Rebecca Hall, 95% of her dialogue is just explaining what's actually happening on screen. It's like, just in case you're lost or don't understand or what's going on, that's like 95% of what she has, her purpose here in this movie is just to tell people what is actually happening, to break it all down. There, but the best people in this movie are the people that don't talk, the people who don't talk at all. Kong, the girl, Jaya, Godzilla, Scar King, they don't have any, they barely have any dialogue. They only, their dialogue is just through sign language and grunts and facial expressions, and that's it. That's the best stuff in this because they don't have to say the dialogue in this movie. Which the dialogue is obviously pretty weak here. Listen, you see the trailer for this, and it's Godzilla and Kong teaming up. You saw that trailer where he's Kong is riding on the back of Godzilla and they're charging into battle. That's what you want to see, right? You want to see monsters fight each other, right?
Hmm.
You want to see monsters punch each other and mess up things and blow up cities and all this other stuff. And you get that. That's what you get here. And it delivers on that. I will say this is much more of a little bit more of a Kong movie than Godzilla movie. I think Godzilla is a little bit more just there in this. And like I said, because it's easier with Godzilla, I mean easier with Kong because he's an ape. So he can express, he can do a little bit more stuff with him as far as his expressions and emotions and stuff you can read on his face as opposed to Godzilla there. But he's his whole story of like he's all alone on Hollow Earth, like he doesn't really have any connection to his people, and then he ends up finding his people there, and he sees that his people are being enslaved, under this dictator of the Scar King, and their initial battle I think is really good and all that stuff. But before I continue more, Dusk, what were your thoughts on Godzilla and Kong the New Empire?
Uh, well, the movie kind of has a plot, if we laughably call it a plot, if we even want to call it that. Kong's looking for his family, looking for any of his kin. He ends up straying a little further because he hears a signal of some kind, which is the catalyst for this entire movie. Is there's the strange signals being sent out as if a calling and causing disruptions, which sends Godzilla into a territory rampage as he goes from place to place, accumulating more and more power and kicking and killing kaiju just to acquire more power. And Kong tries to explore an area, and he ends up finding a tiny mini Kong or another great ape. And the mysteries that character brings leads him on a journey to discover a whole host of almost like an ape kingdom that he didn't know about, well beyond the area he'd discovered. And this leads him with a tussle with a villain character called the Scar King, who is a great ape which wants to destroy the surface world. Why? It doesn't really matter. The kaiju's fight. Humans are there, sort of. Kong fights. He uses traps, and then they win, and then the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they say, like, so basically it's Rebecca Hall, narrating it
Yeah.
all, like, looking at cave paintings of, like,
Oh my god, that was the most laughable moment in this movie. She's just like, "Oh, I'm just reading this
Yeah.
ancient tongue. I'm reading it. This is hieroglyphics, or basically the equivalent of that. And I'm just reading it out, prophesized." And then the one of the queen of the Iwa, she's just nodding. Yes, she doesn't say anything. They just nod.
Yeah. How does she know all this information just by looking at these
Yeah,
paintings as like, okay, sure, I guess, whatever.
sure,
I don't know,
whatever.
maybe they're because they only communicate telepathically. So I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe she's doing that to her, maybe. I don't know.
Look, Josh. She looked at the script and saw it's 115 minutes. We have to keep going.
Yeah, so she kinda narrates it all of, like, so there was, like, this great war before, between the apes and Godzilla, and, yeah, Scar King led this. He was, like, this false king that had led this great war against them, and then Godzilla buried the apes underneath the hollow earth or whatever, and then now they're trying to escape and then take over again, is basically the setup here. Um, yeah, I mean, it's silly. I mean, a lot of stuff they have to keep
Hmm.
moving things along because like this, like okay, we just we you just want to get to the monsters punching, right?
Yeah,
That's what you want to see.
yeah.
And we live in a world where Godzilla minus one, something like that can exist, and something like this can exist. And I think that's fine. You know what I mean? I think there's a time for that. There's a time for both. And a lot of people loved Godzilla minus one for what it was and what it did, how kind of deep it was, how there's a big emotional connection in the movie there. Um, and
It
oh, go ahead.
it was the opposite of what this movie is. This movie is monsters occasionally side starring with human characters, and Godzilla minus one was a human war drama that also starring Godzilla.
Yeah. Like here, it goes back to the origins of Godzilla, treating it like the nuclear threat. There, Hiroshima, like it goes back to those origins there
It
of
also
it.
had a better understanding of what actually is radiation.
Yeah. Here, it's just kind of it's just cool.
It's magic. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, here. And with the human characters in these monsters, they've never impressed me. I mean, they were always flat.
Mhm.
Again, with these characters, like I said, the only one I kind of like is Jaya, the girl, and kind of her whole stuff. But everyone else, you give Brian Tyree Henry, who he's the conspiracy theorist podcaster here. Um, he does nothing but just make references basically back to his podcast. Like all of his stuff is just like, I'm going to tell my people on Discord about this. Like all just
Yeah,
internet stuff, like, that's what he kinda does, and Brian Tyree Henry's a very talented actor. He's a very, very good
sure.
actor. It's just that that's all he's got here, really. He doesn't really have much else. He's
Yeah,
more
he's
of the
great in Atlanta.
he's great in Atlanta, he's been in tons of stuff. Bullet Train,
Yeah.
Atlanta, he's been in tons of good stuff all around there.
If Beale
Child's Play.
Street could talk.
Bill Street could talk. Spider-Man, he's the voice of, Miles's father in that, so, yeah, he's a really, really great talented actor. It's just that there's nothing on the page for him really to do other than
Yeah.
just be kind of the comedic relief here, and then that's it. With Dan Stevens as Trapper. Dan Stevens, also another really fabulous actor. He's great in a lot of things. If you see him in Legion, The Guest, he is really good in a lot of great stuff. Here, it's just like he's having fun. He knows what he's in, and he's having fun with it. I mean, he's got the sunglasses on, he's smiling, he's cool, he's like, "Hey, I know what I'm in. It's not that serious. I'm in a movie about 2 monsters punching each other, like, I'm just gonna have a good time here." He probably got a good check, for it, so that was good. And then they try to do, like, a little bit of a will they, won't they with Rebecca Hall's character. I don't really care about that,
Oh,
but
they don't come on. There's not even a will they, won't they. There is one brief mentioning of it, and that's it. They
mhm.
don't do anything else. They play you know what? They don't even play lip service. They, they mime it. They don't even try. They just, "We used to have a relationship, maybe, sort of. We're really vague on what it was. Now we got this out of the way, you can just be funny character now."
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there wasn't really much kinda going on between 2 of
She had
them.
more she had, like, more they had more set up with Alexander Skarsgård and his character and her, and the kid and the little girl than they did with this.
Yeah, and they've never I don't think they ever really
No.
explain what happens to the other characters in the other
No,
movies.
they just ignore it.
Yeah, I don't think they ever really said,
They
like,
don't
"What
care.
happened
Millie
to."
Bobby Brown is older now, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the other guy who can study wolves, nobody cares about the thing about Monarch is that human characters can go inside and out of the story, and they don't have to explain anything.
Yeah. So I never have been that impressed with a lot of these characters in it.
Yeah.
When it comes to the human characters in the movies, I don't know why they can't do like what they do with the TV show Monarch: Legacy of Monsters, which we reviewed that, which we liked. I liked it
Mhm.
quite a bit. I thought it was pretty good. It made you feel for these characters. I don't know, maybe it's because it's a TV show and it's not only focused on the monsters, so you have other things kind of going on. But
I mean, but even that TV show is inconsistent with what the movies portraying Monarch and other characters are as well.
yeah, and I don't know if there's any references to the show in the movie. I
I
don't know.
mean, the whole portal situation was mostly brought up in that show. It
Yeah,
was not a mention beforehand. You just have to if
that
you
wasn't
go
mentioned beforehand. Oh,
no, the
oh,
portals
okay.
is a whole element brought in by the TV series that was not at all mentioned. I mean, maybe lip service briefly, but in the previous one, they had to go through like a specific tunnel, huge tunnel with a very specific ship that had to be funded by a privateer. It was not, it was this show that just said, "Oh, yeah, there's just a bunch of holes everywhere," which
Oh, okay.
kind of made that movie a little redundant and how extreme it had to be and how unique it had to be.
Okay. And wasn't it a rule that when you go through these portals and then like the time, the way it works, that if you spend like a
Yeah.
minute down there, it's like what, a year or months are down there, like up
Yeah.
in the which I don't think they don't bring that back
No,
here. So I was wondering, like, okay, is it different? Because like the Hollow Earth, is it like something different
they
where
don't
they are?
care. Stop
Um,
thinking. They don't care.
but
Just
I was
consume
kind
product.
yeah, so I was kinda wondering that, but I don't know if there's any I guess the portals, I guess, is the big reference if you've seen the Monarch TV show, which I said has good human characters there in it. I think that has really
Mm.
interesting stuff there. Well, you like the characters from the past, you like them quite a
Yeah,
bit.
yes, the characters in the past are much better than the characters in the present.
Yeah. There's, also in this movie, like I said, stuff with like people who don't talk. Like there's a like you mentioned the Iwi tribe there that come back here. There's a connection with the Jaya character and her, and then how that kind of all works. Uh, Prophecy, destiny. She's the
At the
only one
last minute,
at the last minute that
it
she's
is
the only one that can reawaken a certain person that comes back, and then there's a
it
big
was
thing.
it was so ham-fisted.
Yeah. Um, that was clunky the way it's done, but hey, this creature is back. You know what I mean? You love this person, right? Like
Yeah.
you like to see them show up there, so why not? Let's kind of go with it.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is the second Mothra.
yeah, the second one. Oh
Yeah,
well, okay.
yeah,
You
because
go ahead,
in
said it.
versus when Godzilla, King of the Monsters, he fought against King Ghidorah, and Mothra sacrificed her life against, I believe, King Ghidorah, and then she had children and an egg, and then they're like,
Oh,
"Oh, but underground in this ancient place is also Mothra." I'm like, "So, I
mm,
guess it's a distant relative?"
maybe I don't
I
know. Just
guess you know what? I'm pretty sure they just forget about their own plot points because who cares? Who remembers what even happened in the last movie?
and I mean Mothra looks gorgeous. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Mothra went Super Saiyan in this. So Mothra they yesified Mothra here in this. And there's even another kaiju type creature that comes in here that's ice creature, which I don't know is from the lore or not.
not
Uh,
really.
okay. But that makes for kind of a cool thing there. This kind of ice creature.
Probably the neatest addition, honestly.
Yeah. So the action is good. I kind of like the action in this. Like I said, the best stuff is with Kong. It feels like a little bit more focused on Kong than as opposed to like Godzilla versus Kong, where I
I
think
was yeah,
both
go
of
ahead.
them have a lot of good time together. Screen time. I think it's pretty much shared pretty equally. What were you gonna say?
This movie, while I was watching it, I just felt if they just made this a Kong movie, I wouldn't have minded. They just not had Godzilla, and this is a second Kong movie and finished his story because this clearly has a through line to Skull Island.
Mm,
Just finish up his through line with Skull Island. Have him fight. It would have been more interesting, honestly, without bringing Godzilla into this, and he had to figure out his own skills using tools and weapons and a little help of mankind. That would have fit the theming better. Uh, Honestly, I was kind of disappointed in the Godzilla moments. I,
mm,
they have no idea what they're doing with Godzilla. What is he? What is his modus operandi? Is he in 2014? He's basically a semi-forced nature. If I'm going to give him alignment, he's probably neutral good. He's I'm good, but I care about the trees and the plants and this in my territory. I don't hate humanity, but I'm not here to save you completely, but I don't hate you. I'm not here to completely destroy. He goes out of his way not to destroy things, except for a few things, usually when he's provoked. And
yeah.
then in King of the Monsters, he kind of falls that same metric. And then they kind of sort of play like, I don't know. He's kind of being an a-hole in him versus Kong because he's trying to be territorial. They try to explain it that way to cause more destruction. And in this, he's just a complete monster. He just walks through buildings, doesn't give two craps about bridges, busts through everything, could give two craps about humanity. And the entire time, Monarch keeps arguing, we need Gojira. We need Gojira. And you're just like, not really. Why aren't we funding a kill them all program? Really,
Yeah.
why aren't we at this rate? Because I completely understand they're trying to portray like, the senators, the governments don't understand, and I'm like, just build a giant, just build a Pacific Rim level robot and just to fight him. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
If we're gonna
I
go
think
stupid, go stupid.
no, I think that's coming next. I mean, that's the only thing that's possibly next is okay.
Yeah.
You had
They
them fight
kinda
against each
hinted
other.
at, like, a robot arm, and I'm like, just put it in. Just have Jaeger pilots.
They
Have it
had
be
them.
like an Earth defense force. Have something come from space.
Well, I mean, I think that's where the logical thing is. They fought each other, they teamed up. Now it's time for them to form a team. Now it's time for them
Yeah,
the
Monsters team.
Vengers. That's what's
They need to get the remember, Space Jam, get the Monstars.
yeah. That's what it's time for. I mean, Godzilla, Kong, a robot that's Jaeger piloted by somebody, and
Jet
then
Jaguar,
Jet Jet.
that's a
Yeah.
Godzilla reference.
And the new Titan here, the Ice Titan, get
Yeah, the
them,
Ice Titan, yeah, get Mothra.
Mothra, and then
You got
boom,
the
there you go.
Team 5, you got the 5 team.
And
Maybe
then
get
they
Gigan or Rodan.
They're
The
gonna
one
have
to
to
play
fight
ball.
an aliens. They're gonna have to fight
Yeah,
aliens that come to Earth that are trying to take
absolutely.
over. So there's gonna be like an
And
army of aliens.
the aliens are gonna resurrect King Ghidorah, and they'll make him Mecha King Ghidorah. Mecha
Mm.
King Ghidorah is a real thing though.
Yeah,
So
I'm
that's
sure.
legit. So they'll just have aliens resurrect him. Oh, we're missing a head. Oh, who had the last head? Oh, Tywin Lannister. He had the head. He's a terrorist group. He'll just give it to the aliens willingly, and he'll work with them because he
Yeah,
wants to reset Earth to in his image.
yeah. So I mean, that's kind of I think the logical next
The,
step
the
of
only other
them
route
doing.
I can see is they just have like we'll have Baby Kong now, have
Mm.
Baby Godzilla.
Baby Godzilla. Yeah. I mean, who can Godzilla reproduce with?
I mean, I don't know, just asexually, I guess.
He just fucks himself. I guess.
No, I mean he just poops out an egg. That's just the
Poof.
way it goes. In
Uh,
the original series, yeah, Baby Godzilla. I think he just finds a baby Godzilla. He doesn't make one, and he just decides to adopt it.
uh. Well, yeah. I guess that happened in what was that Godzilla movie? Who directed that? The one with
Roland Emmerich.
yeah, Roland Emmerich. Yeah, the Godzilla just was laying eggs. So I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
he's
there's something
usually,
like
but they made they Zilla as a I think he I don't know either female or it could go back and forth to whatever was needed.
that. Yeah. Well, I guess maybe the same thing is with this guy. Like, we don't check under the hood. I guess.
I guess so. I mean, he ain't never gonna let anyone get close enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, listen, if you look at the trailer, I said it out of the theater reaction. If you look at the trailer and go like, this shit's stupid, yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's what it
absolutely.
is. And if that's something for you, then yeah, you're probably gonna like this. You're gonna like all the destruction. You're gonna like all the monsters, fighting each other, WWE slamming each other. Like there's a WWE move in here where they fight each other. If you like all that type of stuff, you're probably gonna like this, enjoy this. If you
Hmm.
can even, just kind of go along with all going on and, all them trying to explain all this lore and try to science their way out of it. You
Oh
know what
my
I mean?
god! And boy, do they ever!
If you can kind of look past that just to focus on that, then yeah, you're gonna get a kind of a decent, fun action movie. This is about what I expected watching the trailer. I was like, hey, Godzilla, Kong teaming up, fighting something, and it's exciting. Don't really care about the
Mhm.
human characters too much, which you don't.
No.
This is like I said, more of a Kong movie, and he carries it well here. He's got his own sidekick, baby Kong here that you
Yeah.
see there. His own Robin in this situation. So hey, good for him. He's got teamed up. He's found his people and everything. So there's that story kind of going on. Um, yeah, I mean, for me, I give it a tune in. I think if you were going to see it in theaters and knowing what you're expecting, something stupid, then I think you will kind of appreciate it for that. Or it's not something like Godzilla minus one if that's more your style monster movie,
Yeah.
or Shin Godzilla or something like that. No, this is more in line with
Mhm.
the other ones in this series. So for me, I would give it just a tune in. What about for you?
Mm, this is dumb. This is
Yeah.
dumb in ways that I I think the movie broke me. Where I just beforehand I was trying to like hey, maybe some logic in here a little bit to try. They didn't try in the logic in this movie. They didn't even try. They just hand waved every little thing. Made no sense. A prophecy that just came out of nowhere. He just gets pink pink power. It might as well just be a shonen from a anime at this point. And he had to have the pink Saiyan arc and get his Godzilla god power,
Yeah.
and everybody gets an upgrade. It just the logic is completely lost. You don't give two craps about the characters. They don't even try. The only fun I was having was Dan Stevens, who just honestly, he just has a natural charisma about him, and the Trapper character is completely, honestly, mostly pointless in this movie. But at least he did more than other characters in this, and I enjoyed him. He seemed to know what he was in. He knew he was in schlock and just enjoyed it. This is modern day schlock, and if you're up for schlock, more power to you. If you're willing to tolerate and just want to have a good time, maybe grab some popcorn and just munch on it, this is a low tune in. For everyone else, this is a stream it.
Mm. Low tune in for you. Everybody else stream it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think like I said, if you know if you know if you're into this
yeah,
type of thing or not, by this. And
yeah.
definitely they want to make some more movies out of this for sure. I mean, somebody was telling Sage was telling me that they haven't even touched on a lot of the, monsters yet, the
Oh, not even
famous
close.
famous movie monsters here that got additions. They haven't even really touched on that yet. So,
Yeah. There are a
uh,
few references I noticed.
yeah. So, but yeah, yeah. Godzilla and Kong, the new empire. There. Would you say it's about the same, worse, or better than Godzilla versus Kong, which was the last one?
Um, Godzilla versus Kong is oh my god, yeah, it's about as it's almost as nonsensical.
Nonsensical.
Yeah, nonsensical. It didn't have that annoying ass kid that the other one had, and Millie Bobby Brown putting herself and other people in danger for no reason. So because of that, this movie is better. The
Mm,
plot made more slightly more sense in the other one, but this one it just had more Kong and a more and had a slightly better through line with him that it just barely makes up for it.
yeah. I'd say maybe Godzilla versus Kong is better only because I think they divvy up the time better, like, between
Yeah.
Godzilla and Kong, and it's better there.
Yeah,
Um,
it's tough.
yeah, and Mechagodzilla also I think was pretty good
Yeah,
too.
Mechagodzilla was cooler than just some I'm
You
sorry, he's just not that intimidating.
you don't think Scar King's there?
No.
I don't know. He is I don't know, he kinda feels like a Koba
Yeah,
from Planet
Kubo Koba
yeah,
ripoff, yeah.
he does kinda feel like that a little bit,
He
yeah.
even had some of the mannerisms when he was doing, like, his mean mugging with his arms to the side, walking around, laughing, mean mugging, and
Yeah.
he's just like, "Whatever, man."
Yeah, he did feel like that, yeah, from kinda like a ripoff from Planet of the Apes, that villain there. And he even does, like, a move like Koba there, like he did, if you've seen that movie there, where he tossed that dude off the off the ledge or the bridge or whatever.
Yeah, it was
He
the
even co
ledge.
yeah, he even copies that here. So yeah, that was our review for Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire here. I gave it a tune in, Dust gave it a low tune in, stream it there, maybe for some people. So, yeah.